Morocco is an enticing blend of quiet traditional life and frenetic tourist haunts, a place where atmospheric souks and sublime scenery converge to create enthralling travel experiences. Here are our favorite destinations in Morocco. Morocco holds an enduring fascination that few other regions can compete with. While only a few hours from Europe, it remains firmly rooted in its medieval past. From the bustling Djemaa el-Fna and colorful souks of Marrakesh to sleepy mountain villages nestled into burnt orange landscapes. Alongside rivers fringed with fertile green and the crumbling Kasbahs of Ouarzazate, Morocco has a host of must-see destinations. Despite the many popular tourist-driven things to do in Morocco, the country still holds a few surprises. Hiking in remote villages in the Atlas Mountains, exploring rose-filled valleys, day trips to hidden desert oases. There are few places in the world that capture the exotic more poignantly than this fascinating country. Here is where in Morocco you'll find a unique and fascinating experience. The Medina of Essaouira oozes charm and buzzes with energy. Local markets favor a traditional way of life, and the Game of Thrones famous sport sings to the hubbub of fishermen hauling in the morning's catch. Art galleries hide down narrow side streets and cafes line shaded pavements. After the craziness of Fez, strolling around the streets of Essaouira, stopping for sundowner drinks by the port, and discovering fresh regional food, planted this seaside resort firmly in our list of top Morocco destinations to visit. The Fez Medina is a maze of alleyways bursting in sensory overload, an exotic labyrinth where ancient traditions captivate modern tourists. The call to prayer floats over the clatter of metal workers bashing parts, tanners beating leather, and donkeys trotting down cobbled lanes. Intricately carved mosques and madrasas gleam against the dust and grit of a well-used city. The Medina is a unique experience. On our self-guided walking tour of Fez, we explored the most atmospheric souks, enthralling historical sites, and hidden gems in the tightly packed labyrinth. Fez is an unmissable Morocco travel experience in an intoxicating destination. Life in Marrakesh is lived on the street. Narrow alleyways are lined with endless rows of stallholders selling handmade lanterns, colorful embroidered fabric, and tacky tourist souvenirs. Just strolling around the central souks in the heart of the Medina is an experience worth savoring. Our highlights were the edgy jewelry in Souk des Bijoutiers, craftsmen hammering out metal parts in Souk Hadidine, wool dyeing in Souk des Teinturiers, and leather in Souk Cheratine. Ouarzazate is a popular stop on the way from Marrakesh to the sand dunes of the Sahara. With intriguing Kasbahs, a hidden oasis, and mountain villages ideal for getting off the beaten track, this is beautiful Morocco and an area well worth exploring. Ait Ben Haddou is a fortified town on the banks of the el-Fna River, built from local mud bricks. It's one of the best places in Morocco for a thoroughly captivating sunset, having been partially rebuilt as a set for iconic films such as Gladiator, Jewel in the Nile, and Jesus of Nazareth. It's not an authentic look at rural Morocco life, but exploring in the late afternoon is an experience worth grabbing. As the crowds start to thin and the stallholders disband, it's not uncommon to have the place completely to yourself. At this time of day, Ait Ben Haddou shimmers in soft golden light from the top of one of the surrounding hills. Beautiful desolate mountain scenery stretches on for miles. The remnants of Moroccan power can still be discovered on a road trip through the el-Fna Valley. The decaying homes of Tel Awet Kasbah and Tamdogd Kasbah show just how prosperous the caravan route was to this part of the country, carving its way from the high Atlas Mountains to the barren plains just north of the Sahara Desert. The el-Fna River has transformed the landscape. A rich variety of green crops line the valley floor, contrasting with the rusty red rock of the canyon-like walls. Atlas Studios, based just outside Ouarzazate, has been churning out Hollywood movies since 1983, making the small desert town the center of the movie industry in the region. Over 200 movies, from biblical scenes to ancient Egyptian fables, have been filmed here. But the highlight is the complete set of Kingdom of Heaven rising out of the barren landscape. In addition to a tour of Atlas Studios, the Cinema Museum in town has a quirky collection of old film sets. Find the cell Russell Crowe emerged from in Gladiator, a very convincing-looking Egyptian palace, and remnants from the Star Wars movies. A community of 150 people live in the 4 villages that line the palm-fringed river at the el-Fna oasis. It's an idyllic spot where little seems to have changed for centuries. Women work small fields, men herd goats, and children pull faces from the backs of donkeys carrying them and their produce between the villages. Wide red rock canyon walls swirl overhead with a small valley ablaze with lush green crops and bright pink flowers. There is one cafe in the oasis to enjoy a scenic cup of mint tea. However, other than that, there is very little to do. Just stroll around and explore life as it once was in this hidden corner of the world. Although relatively unheard of, el-Fna Oasis is one of the most beautiful places to visit in Morocco and a calming, shady location in the middle of the desert. The 15-mile palm grove that makes up the Skoura Palm Marae is 1 hour from Ouarzazate. Even from the road, the dense collection of palms is an impressive view, framed beautifully between the red rock of the valley. Deep inside, a confusing network of roads leads through small hidden fields and over an ingenious ancient watering system. There are several Kasbahs to visit, the most impressive being Kasbah Meridil, which appears on travel brochures worldwide thanks to its extravagant decorations. A few excellent hotels are based in the Palm Marae, so the real attraction is spending a night in relaxing oasis comfort. We recommend Le Jardin in Skoura for a slice of heaven in what feels like a secret place to visit in Morocco. The high Atlas Mountains are dotted with Berber villages where small crops are tended by farm animals and women working long, tiring days. It's a privilege to witness this traditional way of life, and where to go in Morocco for Berber hospitality and spectacular scenery. The Berber villages along the Argain Valley are still relatively untouched by tourism, but the area is rich in foods that have become staples for its inhabitants. On our trip, we organized a guide to hike through several of the villages in the valley, the most memorable being the hilltop town of Teakfist. Here we sat in a small mud hut with incredible views over the valley and met 105-year-old Mohammed.